We are good to go.
Okay, great. We are going to call the meeting to order at 7:01. Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by advertising the annual meeting notice to the official newspapers, providing a copy of the agenda to the newspapers, and posting a copy of the agenda at Borough Hall. I'd like to ask everyone to rise for the flags. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Sam.
Councilmember Bernhardt. Here. Councilmember Doherty. Council President Weedside.
Here.
Councilmember O'Brien.
Here.
Councilmember Updike.
Here.
Councilmember Warner.
Here. Okay, we have a public comment period, but we also have a special presentation this evening that I think would be appropriate to start with our guest.
Can I stand?
Yes,
Okay.
wherever you feel comfortable.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jean Herb. I live on 4th Street. Frenchtown resident for 33 years. So I'm here to give you an update on the age-friendly grant. I'd like to give a shout out to Kate Nugent, Samantha, and Chris, who've been participating in the community committee, the borough's, the council's community committee that's been deliberating for, I don't know, about 8 months, 9 months. So we received the grant. The grant ends on June 30th. So the reason I'm here is we're kind of in the fast pace getting to the end of the grant period. The grant's from the New Jersey Department of Human Services. It's a $70,000 grant, and it's a planning grant, right? It's intended to look at, to do a needs assessment of what are the challenges facing older residents in the borough, and what are some of the opportunities, the actions that we can take to address those challenges. There's 25 other communities, municipalities and counties in the state, but none in Hunterdon County. So we're a little bit special that way.
Yeah.
So what we were required to do under the grant, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to do glasses. At that age. What we're required to do under the grant was to create the community committee to join the AARP National Age-Friendly Network, which in August, the council passed a resolution to support us doing that. So we're the 1006th community in the United States to join, and then to do a needs assessment. And to do the needs assessment, what we've done is we did a community survey. I hope you all took it. We've been working with folks at Rutgers University who's helping us analyze it. We had 207 responses to the survey. So that was pretty good. The mayor hosted his first town hall in October, and we had about 40 people there. So that was great. And then we did interviews with, I'm referring to them as community leaders. So that includes borough employees, of course, the manager of the bank, Al at the hardware store, Al at the pharmacy, Mike at the hardware store, Ken at the IGA, the pastors of the 2 larger churches. So to really hear from them, because they're leaders who touch base with older residents on a regular basis. And then we also have been looking at some of the Frenchtown demographics, which is a whole presentation in itself. It's really complicated. So some of the challenges that we've heard, I put them into 3 categories. One is a feeling, a sense of unwelcomeness on the part of older residents, and a sense of not knowing what's going on. And not knowing how to be involved, both civically and in sort of the life, the fabric of Frenchtown. My personal opinion is some of that is still holdovers from the loss of social connections during COVID. I also think it's probably the loss of the Delaware Valley News. So many people said they just don't feel like they have a sense of, what's actually happening. Potentially, a little bit, we're seeing a little bit of a change in culture in terms of Frenchtown, from the Frenchtown that was here 33 years ago when I moved here to the Frenchtown here, all good, just a little bit different. And particularly for residents who may be longer term residents, they may be sort of feeling So that's number one. The second is the limited availability of services and programs here in the borough that are free and available. Now, we did an inventory of services that are available to Frenchtown residents, and we found a lot of them. The problem is they're just not both geographically and visually to know where they are. They're way far away in Flemington, right? And so we're just really surprised to see how much Frenchtown residents aren't taking advantage of those. And that also includes programs and services for caregivers. We heard a lot about the need to really address the special challenges that face caregivers, including caregivers who might not necessarily live in the borough. And then the third category of challenges, I put in a bucket that I call local policies. And the idea is that there aren't necessarily policies that are specifically tailored to address the needs of older residents. And examples include, we heard a lot about enforcement of ordinances about sidewalks, in terms of clearing sidewalks when there's snow, when there's other debris and other things piled up. We heard a lot about that. We heard about, and this is something that I know the planning board has heard for years and years, about the cost associated with getting local approvals to make renovations to a home that might be medically necessary or necessary to age. And then we heard a lot about sidewalk conditions and a lot about parking, particularly downtown, and particularly in terms of access to Borough Hall and the library. So within each of those three categories of challenges, there's a list for each one of very specific challenges that I don't have time to go into with you now, but you will be seeing a document, because the thing that we have to produce under this grant by June 30th is an action plan. And so the action plan will document the more specific challenges according to those three categories. The plan is to have that available with a resolution for you at your June meeting, to, I don't know what the right word is, endorse, support, endorse. Samantha says endorse, so endorse, because I do what Samantha says.
We all do.
So you'll get to see the full description. With all those challenges, we found several, what I'm referring to as underlying gaps, that affect all those challenges. One is the lack of, I'm using the term connector, a body that can connect the local service, connect the services that may be way far away in Flemington to the needs here, right? So it's not creating new programs. It's about leveraging the programs that already exist and bringing them here to make them available. And we've talked to some of the service providers that are sort of in the Flemington area, and their response is, we're happy to come and support you, but it's kind of like organizing, right? I mean, we've heard so much about people wanting to volunteer. All the school kids, lots of younger residents will volunteer, we'll help shovel walks, we'll help people figure out how to get on the internet. But someone's got to connect it, connect those volunteers. We know, Mike at the hardware store says, I'll host a Mr. Fix-It program, but someone's got to connect the people who needs the help of a Mr. Fix-It and the Mr. Fix-Its. And so one underlying gap is a connector. The second is we are without a reliable, up-to-date contact list of all residents, including older residents. I've started to build a list just based on the 40 people who came to the mayor's October town hall. But that's not without any kind of rigor. I just sort of took everybody's names and numbers. So we're without that. So we don't know how to reach them. We also heard about a need related to that, about being able to directly communicate with older residents during emergencies. And then finally, the third sort of underlying gap is a local news source. And here in New Jersey, this is not a Frenchtown thing, right? This is across the state. And people have now coined the term news desert.
Yeah.
So we're a bit of a news desert. One of the things that definitely came up in the survey was people talking about, older residents talking about a gap in terms of a gathering space. You know, we don't have a senior center. However, I'm not putting that on my list of three. And the reason why is because we heard so loud and clear from the churches in town, from some of the businesses in town, from the Legion, from the Darcy Lodge saying, we would be happy from the elementary school, we would be happy for you to use our space and we will bend over backwards to make it work. So I have a lot of good news to report, which is that in general, people said Frenchtown is very age friendly, and ARP actually has a national index and we rate very high on that. So that's the great news. The other good news is we had such a positive response from the community leaders that we talked to. We want to get involved. This is a great idea. What can we do to help? And whether that's businesses or the elementary school or the churches, people are poised to help. A second good news is I can't say enough about the borough employees who, when we had a conversation with them, it was eye-opening for me to understand the things that they do behind the scenes to support older residents, particularly older residents with limited assets, and who need help routinely. So I think they're kind of unsung heroes. We also just have gotten a great response from the community. So when I walk around town now, like now I've gotten this crazy reputation. It's like, oh, gee, you're doing the age-friendly thing. Let me tell you what I think, right? You know, but that we had more than 200 people respond to the survey, more than 40 people at the town hall is all really, 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 really positive. My last piece of good news is a little bit of a shout out to all of you, which is that for some of the things that we heard a lot, sidewalks, you've already put systems in place, right? The Safe Routes to School grant and the TAP grant are gonna address those issues. I know that there's things going on in terms of trying to address parking more, right? I know that Chris has been working on trying to create a platform for emergency communication with older residents. The problem is no one knows about them. Back to that other thing, we don't have a news source. So it's really good news. So what we've done, and if you saw the document, that's still kind of a little bit of a hot mess, you'll see that the committee's identified some priorities for action, right? And that's what's part of our eventual action plan that you'll be acting on in June. So we outlined a number of things. And I don't have time to go through them now with you, but what I do want to talk about are what we're referring to as early actions. And I'm using the term early actions to describe things that let's just do them now, because there is absolutely no reason for us to wait until we adopt an action plan. And some of them require resources, and some do not. And so what we want to be able to do in terms of some immediate next steps while we're still wrapping up the action plan is to reprogram some of the grant funds, because we have to spend the funds by June 30th. It's American Recovery Fund money. If we don't spend it, it goes away. And so what we estimated, and Samantha's working on a budget modification, is that we will have sufficient resources to cover the costs of the borough's attorney and the borough's planner to develop the ordinance to address the issue about overburdened applications, local approvals for medically necessary and aging in place home renovations. So Darlene Green is intending to start that work in March, assuming we get approved for the budget modification. We're also going to purchase the equipment. It's not a big budget item for the police department to start a program that's called Operation Blue Angel that a number of other towns in New Jersey have launched, which is where the police department has a relationship with an older resident, particularly an older resident who doesn't have like family nearby and who doesn't have a lot of resources and who maybe doesn't so that, and there's an agreement so that if there's a need for the police to enter the home, there's a lockbox and they're able to do that. We're going to host another mayor's town hall, and here's a copy of the flyer on February 28th, and I hope you'll all come. And we've decided, the mayor and Michelle decided that let's have it at the American Legion so that everybody can see the big renovations there. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm pretty excited. So it'll be 10 to 12. And it'll be an opportunity for us to report out to folks on where we're at and what our next steps are. So there's just some cost for rental and coffee and things like that. And we're gonna be able to move forward with purchasing, I'm calling it a communications platform. Samantha and Chris might have a better idea, but it's something like a constant contact. So we can start to develop a platform where we can have contact information for folks. We can flag them to know if they're an older resident. We can flag them to know if they need maybe a phone call in addition to, some kind of electronic notification if there's an emergency. So we'll move forward to be able to get that set up, because one of the things that the committee has talked about is we can have the best programs anywhere, but if no one knows about them, then it doesn't really matter, right? We also have sufficient funds to put into production costs for incubating a newsletter, a borough newsletter. Not a newspaper, not a journalistic newspaper, that is very heavy lift, but at least a newsletter to get us started. So those are the things that we would build into the budget modification for the current Department of Human Services grant. And then we have two other funding opportunities to move forward with some of these early actions that were identified. The first is ARP has a community grant program, and we would apply to them to get some funds to look at how could we create an incubator. And please don't leave here thinking I'm saying this is someone who's a full-time professional, with health benefits. This is like someone who could be, I don't know, 5 hours a week, 6 hours a week, something like that, to be able to make the connections from volunteers in the community to people who need it, or to make the connections of bringing programs in, whether that's the United Way to help people with their tax forms, or the senior center to come in and help people to understand what's the best prescription plan under Medicare for them to use, to really kind of organize those best, and probably do some social things as well, because we hear a need for that. And then, and then the intent would be to then also apply to the Fargo Family Foundation. Deadlines are in middle of April, I think, to sustain a newsletter for, I'm going to suggest 12 months. So that we could use the funds in the current grant to start to incubate it, and then to look at the Fargos to help us sustain it, let's say for 12 months, but with the understanding that during those 12 months, we'd also create a business plan to make it sustainable. And we've seen these kinds of newsletters in some other small communities, and we know that they're sustained by things like ads. And, we heard from Ken at the IGA that he's like, I've got no way to communicate with people. I would be happy to purchase a couple ads. And we've chatted a little bit with Rick Epstein, former editor of Delaware Valley News, who also advises us that part of our business plan should be sure to have obituaries, because people like to pay for those. So that's kind of our game plan forward. Again, you'll be seeing a kind of thick action plan. I'm hoping to get it to you definitely middle of May, so you've got time to noodle it, and we can talk more about the specifics then, but it would be for your action at your June meeting. And then these are some of the early actions that the committee is feeling like, let's just get this going and ride the wave. Let's ride the momentum that's been developed under this grant. So I hope that's helpful. Anything yet? Good.
Very helpful.
Okay.
Any questions from council? No?
The bar's gonna be open at the Legion.
Right. I have to get one of those rider chairs at 10 in the morning, but we'll have snacks.
At the Legion, they do have the chair that.
They do have the chair, okay. I can't wait to see it.
But Jean, I just want to thank you because Brad, the mayor and I had a chance to meet with Jean in advance of this presentation. And I can't commend you and the committee enough for the work that's gone into this process.
Yeah.
And the report, when you see the report, you'll be very impressed, and it's really some good work.
Yeah, I think one last thing is I am setting up time to chat with folks who are involved in these kinds of activities as a group at the county to
Mhm.
update them. We've had a couple county folks, we've had the hospital, the senior center and the Go Hunter on the committee as well. But I want to get them all in a room and, really remind them that we're the only municipality in Hunterdon County, and they could be looking at us as a pilot and a gem should they win the lottery or something like that.
Yeah, and it's a valid point because everyone that I have shared in terms of the colleagues on other
Yeah.
councils, when they hear that Frenchtown is doing this work, they're incredibly interested.
Yeah.
And so if there are other opportunities for municipalities within Hunterdon to
Right.
jump
Yeah.
into this, it would be great.
Yeah, because the things that we're talking about are things that, yes, they benefit older residents, but they don't benefit everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we have a lot of resources that are underutilized, and I think that that connection to them would benefit
Oh,
all,
that's great.
so,
Thank you.
but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we are going to public comment, the first of two this evening. So do I have a motion to open the public comment period officially? Thank you, Assemblywoman. Sorry. Sorry, I just promoted you. Thank you, Councilwoman Warner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Updike.
I did not get.
So, members of the public, is there anyone that would like to comment? Sir?
My name is Tom Woodruff. I live on Greenwood Avenue and I'm the chair of the commission. I have copies of our annual report for last year. I don't know if you have time for me to read it tonight. I think it sounds like you have a lot on your plate tonight. If you want, I can just leave copies for you guys and then maybe next month.
That would be amazing to have us actually schedule you to do an official report back to the council.
It wouldn't take them long.
Mhm.
I could probably squeeze it in 5 minutes.
No, if you leave the copies and then you come back and present
Okay.
so that we can also advertise that you're doing the report back.
All right, thank you.
Okay? Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public comment period?
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we are moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Are there any items that have been identified for removal? No? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Warner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bernhardt. Roll call, please, Samantha.
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 949, an ordinance amending chapter 50 land use article title, purpose, administration, and definitions to define elder cottage housing opportunities, AKA ECHO units, and amending article for district regulations of the Borough Code to permit ECHO units in the R1 zone and to modify the requirements of the R3, R8B, and R8D zones and the Frenchtown Village Center Plan in order to implement recommendations of the 2025 housing element and fair share plan and the amended 2025 housing element and fair share plan. And this is for introduction. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, there are a series of actions on tonight's agenda, all related to your affordable housing plan. You just took two actions, 7 and 8 on the consent agenda. Item 7 is awarding a professional services contract to Rehabco Incorporated to prepare a manual for the borough. One of your mechanisms is to rehabilitate a certain number of units within the borough and bring them up to standards. And there is a need to have a program manual and a program administrator, and that is a contract to Rehabco Inc. for that purpose. Item 8 on your agenda is endorsing the housing element and fair share plan. At last week's planning board meeting, the planning board already took action on this by adopting the housing element and fair share plan, and what that, you may remember that back in June, the planning board and you went through this same process. You adopted a housing element. Then we went through that housing element. The plan was challenged by Fair Share Housing. We went through a mediation process, reached a mediation agreement with Fair Share Housing that has been reviewed by the court. And this is implementing this amendment to the housing element and fair share plan is implementing the changes to the original housing plan consistent with the mediation agreement. The next 3 items are all ordinances, and they're all ordinances that are, again, affordable housing, and we will be referring them to the planning board for review to make sure they're consistent with the housing element and fair share plan that they adopted and you endorsed. You read the title to it, and just to highlight one of the changes there, part of your affordable housing program provides for an opportunity to have echo units in certain sections of town. And the echo unit fits in well with what you just heard with respect to aging in place. This is really having a little cottage or a space on a lot large enough for it. Not every lot would be eligible for it. It would have to meet the requirements in the ordinance as to the bulk requirements and the size of lot and things of that nature. There are also a few other changes to the zoning. Part of it is a change to the village center plan, increasing the density there to allow for more opportunities for affordable housing. Again, that was all as a result of the challenge by Fair Share Housing and resolving it. Overall, I believe that the borough did very well with the mediation agreement. One of the things that Fair Share Housing accepted was a vacant land analysis, which is demonstrating to Fair Share Housing and the world that the borough has limited capability to make space for affordable housing. You had an obligation, whether you have space or not, that obligation exists. So these are mechanisms to try to meet that obligation, and it is, again, required by law. So that is the first ordinance that you'll be introducing. The second ordinance, 950, is a more generic affordable housing ordinance, is really how to implement your affordable housing programs within the borough. The last ordinance, 950, and you already have an affordable housing ordinance. This is just updating it to current standards.
Okay.
Likewise, in 950, you do have an affordable housing development fee ordinance. That is an ordinance that allows you to collect 1.5% for residential units or 2% for commercial units. And when they're being either built or enhanced in some way, well, it's not some way, it's the way that it's specified in the ordinance. And that is money that is placed into the trust fund. Again, ordinance 950 and 951 are ordinances you already have, and you're just updating them to meet the new requirements of the law. That's probably more than you wanted to hear, but it's just a general overview of what actions you're being asked to take. So these 3 ordinances that will be referred to the planning board. The planning board will review them for consistency with or inconsistency with the master plan at their next meeting, then they will come back to you for the March meeting, and there will be other not ordinances, but resolutions like approving an affordable housing marketing plan, things of that nature, that again are all to implement your affordable housing plan. And as I said, while it looks like there's a lot here, the groundwork for this was laid back in June with your original housing plan. And from my judgment and looking at what other municipalities have had to do, you did very well, especially with the vacant land analysis that was accepted. So with that explanation, unless you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. But there will be a public hearing on the March hearing, the March meeting. March 4th.
Right, and second reading and passage of these three.
Right.
Are there any questions? No, I thank you for the thorough explanation. Honestly, it's been a lot of work to
I could
get
have
here.
gone longer, but.
No. No, but I thank you for the summary, and putting it into perspective. Because of this being, ordinances that are moving us forward with. And I am glad that we were able to get our settlement done and this is moving it forward. So,
And
Darlene Green has put a
oh,
tremendous
she's
amount
done
of work.
a great
And
amount of
Albert,
work.
you helping her along the way.
She's done
is-
really an excellent job, and as you know, Miss Green, all you need to do is wind her up and she will go on very well. The one thing I did not mention is, back in March of 2025, there was an amendment to the fair share housing law in New Jersey. And that required that all of these actions be taken by March 15th of this year. Okay, so that's why you see a jam-packed agenda, because all of this has to be completed by March 15th to continue to keep your immunity from a builder's remedy lawsuit. This is not unique to Frenchtown. Every municipality in New Jersey that's participating in this program
is
has
meeting
to
that
be
deadline,
finished by
right?
the 15th, has the same deadline. So many councils and township committees throughout the state are hearing the same explanations.
And luckily, we're meeting on March 4th.
Your meeting on March.
So we have
4th?
11 days to spare.
No.
Oh.
Everything has to be filed, I believe, within 48 hours of final
Okay.
adoption, so, but you'll get it
We're
done by the
good.
15th, yeah.
We'll meet the benchmark.
Yep.
But okay, so then we do have to pass them individually though.
Yes,
right?
I just gave you an explanation, just.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have heard a thorough explanation on all the ordinances, but I'm requesting a motion for ordinance 949 specifically to approve the introduction.
So.
Okay, I'm going to give that one to Councilwoman Bernhardt with a second from Councilwoman Warner. Samantha, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes,
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance number 950, an ordinance amending chapter 50 land use, article 16, affordable housing to update the borough's affordable housing ordinance in accordance with the December 25th Uniform Housing Affordability Controls, New Jersey, AC 5.99, I'm sorry, 5:99 regulations and the amended Fair Housing Act. And this is for introduction. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman O'Brien. Is there a second?
second,
Thank you, Councilwoman Updike. Ordinance number 9, oh, I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
yes,
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 951, an ordinance amending chapter 50 land use article 15 development fees to update the borough's development fees ordinance in accordance with the December 2025 NJAC 5:99 regulations and the amended Fair Housing Act. And this is again an ordinance for introduction. Is there a motion?
so moved,
Thank you, Councilwoman Updike. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Warner. Samantha, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yeah.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes,
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
thank you. Ordinance number 952, an ordinance amending section 502-302, title Signing Graphics of the revised general ordinance of the borough, ordinances of the borough. And this is again for introduction. So we will be having a public hearing on this on the same date, March 4th. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Warner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bernhardt. Samantha, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Okay, new business, approval of the Frenchtown Lions Club annual Easter egg hunt on April 4th, 2026 from 10 to 12 at Old Frenchtown Field.
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Roll call?
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Approval of the River Rats Athletics Mischief on the River 5K race on October 11th, 2026 from 6 to 12, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Thank you. I do want to thank you, for your work on that, Administrator.
Sure.
I know it's been several months of planning.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
But we finally came to an agreement.
I'm happy that, yeah, I'm happy that they,
I was wondering when this might happen again. They had it about 25 years ago.
25 years ago, seriously?
Been wondering, 25 years?
Yeah.
No, not this group, but a race through town.
Oh,
I
okay.
enjoyed running it. Yeah, I mean, I always look forward to something happening again like that.
Yeah, it's fun,
Yeah.
and they've reached out, a while ago, so I'm glad that it's gotten off the ground.
Yeah, they actually wanted to go down, I believe it was down Harrison Street, do the Harrison Street Milford Road loop, and it was a bit much for us managing traffic and, shutting everything down for a period of time, so. The end result was that they're gonna, take off from the field across from the school, go up 12th Street, go down 12th Street, and then use the tow path for most of the race, and then kind of come back to the same spot.
That's basically what they did, not this group, but the last group.
Oh, is that right?
Last time.
Okay, and that requires certain permissions from, the, bridge commission, or the, not the bridge commission.
No, DEP?
DEP.
Yeah.
Which they've done, so, so, yeah, should be good.
Oh,
Very good. Thank you for your work on that. Okay, number 4 is approval of the FBPA preliminary 2026 event dates. And we have the FBPA president here. Thank you for coming out tonight. Do you have any comments? Okay,
I just like to send that at the beginning of the year, because those are the dates that I will be submitting, hopefully by March, so that I'll have a full calendar year lined up and I can put it out publicly so that there's, there's like being able to advertise and, things like that. And so everybody can sort of set their calendars as early as possible, business owners and community members, and then, we can sort of get after all the bits and pieces that come with each event.
yeah, and then we just work on the logistics separately,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Morgan.
Thank you.
So is there a motion to approve the dates?
so moved.
Thank you, Councilman O'Brien. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Updike. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And then also similarly, we have the FBPA 2026 Green Fair Echo Week events and park registration for the Sunbeam Lenape Park on April 26th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Anything, Morgan, you want to add for that?
Only that I think I put in the rain date. for
Yeah, I
the
see that on
27th.
We have that on the application, so
Okay.
there is a rain date scheduled for that on the 27th, same time. Same logistics.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And then finally, approval of the raffle application for the Frenchtown American Legion from May 1st through April 30th. 2027?
Mhm.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to council comments. Councilwoman Warner,
Nothing.
thank you. Councilwoman Updike,
No comments for me?
okay. Councilman O'Brien,
No comments.
no comments? And finally, oh, no comments either? Wow, it's a sweep. The only comment that I had for tonight is that the county has established their 2026 special recycling events. The first in which is electronics recycling, and that is March 14th. And it is at the 12 complex, Route 12 complex. And I like that they're noting that most items with a plug are accepted, so that does include air conditioners and dehumidifiers, which I think is a bit of a change. And then also the first shred day of the year is on April 18th. Moving on to administrators report.
I have comments.
Very good.
But not too many. There's actually a lot going on, day to day in the borough, but, it's all in the works, so there's not a lot of it that I could talk about today. But the things that I can talk about, are all, mostly small things, but, in January, we were able to collect our first, filming permit fees. There was an independent film at Sunbeam Park, had to do with the wind phone there, and, so money's coming in because there's really a lot of work that you did to get that going, so.
I do want to say that I did lift that up because I had a call with the film commission this week. Talking about the ordinance specifically and talked about the documentary is what I called it, and
Okay.
and they were unfamiliar with the wind phone concept, so it was Mark Salick and one of the staff at the film commission, so so they were happy to hear.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention the snow removal efforts that occurred in the borough, because of the storm. I was very impressed with Public Works and their efforts to really, everything they did, but really especially to clear the parking spaces on Bridge Street and Ray Street. I'm sure the businesses appreciate that. And it looks like a lot of snow, but it even looks like more snow when you want to move it all and find a place to put it. So kudos to them. The police department were also involved in managing traffic to allow them to work without any hindrance. And I even put a different hat on that day and was out driving some trucks for Public Works. You saw me.
Nice try.
Yeah.
So for Public Works, so good on them, on a good job, their job well done, so. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was, in your, monthly police report, I'd just like to read something, that one of our officers was involved in, just kind of to put it on the record. I don't remember the day, but it was certainly in January, where patrol was flagged down for a vehicle that had swerved off the road and into a snowbank on Route 29, just outside of Frenchtown Borough. Sergeant Eccles located the vehicle and discovered the driver in cardiac arrest with the assistance of bystanders and the state police. The driver was removed from the vehicle and life-saving measures were initiated. The victim did not survive. However, Sergeant Eccles should still be commended for his efforts. We do have an award policy, so it's under review right now to see if this applies. So we'll probably hear more about this.
That's a shame, yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Sure.
I want to echo your sentiment though about the DPW and the police department and the job that was done with the cleanup. As someone that left Frenchtown and went to another several other municipalities from there. I was really proud at the amount of work that was done with the size of our team. I went into bigger towns and they were much worse off than us, so I think our team did an amazing job and.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned to me that like New Hope as an example,
I was just gonna, I have businesses in
Oh,
both
okay.
Frenchtown and in New Hope.
they don't do that, right?
It was 3 full days of all parking spots being taken up, and we were horribly affected.
Yeah,
Even restaurants, business, so I also wanna echo that, is that Frenchtown did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Incredible job.
And Lambertville, even as late as last Friday, were sorry. Don't wanna throw shade on your. It's certainly not meant to, that's not the reason why I'm saying that, but I know that they were relying very heavily on some other resources to help them with snow removal, especially on state roads.
They- Yeah.
They did
were
a
limited
big
to where they
coordinated
could put
effort.
it
Yeah,
As part of it.
yeah. So,
and the last thing I'll say, I really had minimal complaints, and that's, that's hard to accomplish
With that
in any
much snow.
town, so. Very few complaints, with such a, as you all know, confined space. And again, a lot of times nowhere to put the snow
Right.
to satisfy everybody.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing, like somebody's always gonna not be satisfied and, didn't hear much, so.
yeah, and our DPW manager is sitting right there, Kurt Fevick.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
efforts
yes,
and
thank
working
you.
a tremendous amount of hours,
Mhm.
especially with that first weekend of unanticipated snow on both Saturday and Sunday, and then followed up with that significant storm. It was
Yeah.
not easy. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And then also a matter that was brought to our attention at the last meeting by a resident on Kingwood regarding the school bus accident. I do want to close that loop and say that it was not related to like speeding or excessive speeding. It was a sun blindness issue. And riding up Kingwood, I had a very similar experience, yeah.
It's bad.
So I did want to just circle back and say that we did investigate that comment from last month's meeting, and that was the cause of the accident, so. Okay, so thank you very much. There's any correspondence in your packets that you would like to discuss? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to open the second public comment of the evening?
So moved.
Second?
Oh my God. Wow, okay, Councilman O'Brien for the first and Councilwoman Warner for the second, and I don't know how you did it in both. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment this evening?
Hey,
Hi.
Carmen's already 47 Kingwood. I'd like to thank Kurt as well and all that you guys are doing such a great job with streets in town. We came the day after the storm, we were out of town, and we were shoveling our sidewalk. It was nice to come back and have the roads cleared and passable. What I would like to point out is that like 10 days on after the storm, a lot of the major crosswalk ramps and intersections remain completely blocked, particularly Bridge and Race Street, and down Bridge Street as well. And I've noticed numerous pedestrians walking in the street as a result of it. And, people who are mobility impaired or otherwise, being a pedestrian is now not an option for them. In addition, I would imagine for the business community, it's for concern because the two major parking areas, the Cathy's and the municipal lot, those crosswalks have mountains of snow blocking the ramps to the crosswalks, and that's where pedestrians are intended to cross. And I also worry that it might create a liability issue for the town as far as ADA compliance is concerned. DPW has done an amazing job, and my understanding is that this is the obligation of property owners to maintain all the street frontage as well as at the corners and where they intersect the crosswalks. So I would like to flag that and see attention paid to that, because I've walked that route every day, and every day I see people having to walk in the street in order to traverse the areas. Thank you.
Thank you for comments. Okay, are there any other public comments from the audience? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna close the second public comment period and we are gonna go into executive session. So whereas section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. B 1 through 9, chapter 231, PL 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas the Borough Council is of the opinion that such circumstances exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Frenchtown in the County of Hunterdon, State of New Jersey, as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Attorney-client privilege. The Borough Council may take official action on those items discussed in executive session upon completion of the executive session. The minutes of the discussion shall be made available to the public as soon as the matters under discussion are no longer of a confidential or sensitive nature, and this resolution shall take effect immediately. Dated February 4th, 2026. So is there a motion to go into executive session? Thank you, Councilwoman Warner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bernhardt. All in, roll call, please, Sam.
Councilmember Bernhardt?
Yes.
Council President Lee Tag?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yes.
Councilmember Updike?
Yes.
Councilmember Warner?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, give me 2 seconds.
no worries.
Trying to figure, I'm gonna type,
I gotta go home and look at my tax bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were trying to get
I-
land building from the county system.
I do not have them. Okay.
Yay.
All right, the time is 8:48 PM. We're out of executive session. Is there anything else going on? All right, with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone.